Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Art Podcast with your hosts, Colin Savala and Brandon Cox, as we record here on Monday, September 29th. And the MLB regular season has officially wrapped up. It was a wild weekend. Brandon and I
Wild.
recorded on, I think it was that Friday
Friday.
night, previewing the
Yep.
final
Or
weekend.
Thursday. One of those 2 days. Yeah.
I think it was Friday. And tomorrow the wild card started. Like, I still can't believe how fast the season went by.
Amen.
But yeah, our Yanks are playing the wild card. We'll preview that. We're gonna preview all the other games as well. But first, Braden, I think we're gonna react to the field because there was a lot of stuff that went on over the weekend that seedings and who was in it has changed. But Braden, I think I want to start with the team that we have to start with, Braden, the New York Mets. I don't just a collapse the last what 2-3 months of the season here. We said a
July,
month
probably.
ago,
Yeah.
like, oh, this team's fine. They'll figure it out. They're going to sneak in and they're going to be a threat because they have a lot of talent on the roster. But then here come the Cincinnati Reds taking the spot on the last day of the season. Reds could have clinched with a win or a Mets loss. The Mets did end up losing 2 of 3 to Miami. Reds ended up winning 2 of 3 in Milwaukee. And I think that was kind of the storyline of the weekend, pretty much, right, Braden?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, one of the more shocking, I guess you could, and we'll get into the AL side of things and all that, right? But, this is bad. Like, and I'm not even saying this as like a Yankee fan and as a result of a Mets hater, you could call me, right? Um, you had the you have the second highest payroll in baseball. You had the biggest spending spree in an offseason ever. You can't miss the playoffs. You can't,
Yeah.
right? You got Alonso on he's now opting out of his deal. That was expected. Even if they probably would have won the whole thing, he probably would have done that to get more money. But now there's a huge question mark there. And you've got Soto, you know, taking a lot of that dough. You got Lindor. I know that he's still going to be there, but you have a lot of question marks. Um, so as a Yankees fan, like, am I happy about this? Whatever. I'm kind of indifferent at the end of the day, right? Because it doesn't really affect me too much. People will say like, "Oh, you've got to be happy as a Yankees fan that the Mets missed." I don't really care. I think I'm just more shocked. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
it's even
Yeah. I think
set
shocked
in.
is the word.
If you would have told me back in July that the Mets slump and maybe they fall to the wild card, I'd be like, okay, like that's fine
Mm-hmm.
because last year they went to the NLCS as a
Yeah.
wild card team. But to
Yeah.
miss and the fashion they did it, they went into Chicago this past week and took 2 out of 3 and they looked good. And we were recording last Thursday or Friday or whatever it was, and we were like, all you need to do is take care of the like go win two out
Yeah.
of three in Miami, and we were basically sitting here saying,
And
like,
that
it's like if you're a
that would
betting
have done
man, it's
it.
the
That
Mets
would have done
because
it. Yeah.
the Mets are not gonna like screw this up that much. They just went to Chicago and did what they needed to do. You can go into Miami and do the same thing, and you're gonna go to the postseason. Um, so you lost 2 out of 3 in Miami. Like, that's obviously not a great look, but to me, it's more about the Reds. I think we said it on the episode, but I think it was 13 straight series that they had lost to the Brewers. But when it mattered most, they were able to win a series.
Mm-hmm.
So huge congrats to the Reds. Awesome for that city, awesome for that fan base. I think the last time that they were in the postseason was 2013. So it's definitely a cool story. But yeah, the Mets, you know,
2020, I think, for the Reds.
2020, maybe the COVID.
COVID
Besides maybe the
year.
COVID year. Don't count
Yeah.
the COVID year. It's probably before. Don't count the COVID year. It's probably like 2013, 2014,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Yeah, you know, if you want to look at any defining stretch of the year for the Mets, yeah, they kind of spiraled this whole second half, but they got swept in San Diego in July. They got swept by Cleveland. They got swept by Milwaukee. They lost 2 out of 3 against Atlanta, a team that they were better than this year. Lost 2 out of 3 in National Park. And then they lost how many in a row? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. They lost 8 in a row. 2 to the Reds, 4 to the Phillies, 2 to the Rangers. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're having a different conversation if you even take one of those.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's tough. Um, you know, it kind of feels
Yeah.
weird
It does
that
feel
we're
it's just
having this
like
conversation,
feels
but
like an all-time collapse. I don't even know how to
yeah, I mean,
describe it.
it's kind of been happening since the break. I mean, they've been very, very streaky since the break. I mean, they started the break, they lost 2 out of 3 to after the All-Star break, and then they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight, and then they lost 4 straight. Then they won one and then lost 8 straight. Then won one and then lost 3. Like they're all over the
Mhm.
place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There wasn't really any win streaks
Consistency.
besides
Yeah.
at the beginning of the break, and those games were against the Angels and San Francisco on the road, who's no joke, but they kind of showed their true colors as the season went on too.
Yeah.
They just didn't take care of business when it mattered most, and it sucks, but they had opportunity to win a few here and there. I mean, they lost in Philadelphia that first series. 2 weeks back now, 3 weeks back now, 1-0 they lost. Like
Yeah. Just games
stuff
like
like
that.
that, man. It comes back to bite you.
And I
So
saw I saw they were like 0-48 or 0-37 when trailing after the eighth inning or something like that. Like
yeah.
bonkers. Like they had no
So
comeback wins.
they didn't have a single comeback win. They didn't
Yeah.
have a single walk-off win or yeah, I mean, yeah, that's like insane too.
Yeah. All right.
So I don't know if that's a culture issue or what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But to have the star power they do, to have the deadline they did, we walked out of the trade deadline and we were like, they did everything.
Mm-hmm.
Cedric Mullins kind of disappeared after the deadline. Ryan Hazley didn't really do much for them. We thought that those pieces were gonna get them right back, get them back on
The
track, and
bullpen,
it
yeah,
it
collapsed too. Yeah.
it kind of didn't. And Soto had a great year. Alonso had a great year. Lindor, I know he struggled at the beginning, but he still had a good season.
Mm-hmm.
Can't miss the playoffs. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry for all my Mets fans out there, but we'll move on.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head about the Mets, man. Just kind of shocked, loss of words, but they'll probably I can't see them not bounce it back next year, but we'll see. All right. Do you want to get into the Reds comeback a little bit here? No one really
Got to.
expected this, right? Except for me, obviously. If you watched our July 18th, I think, our episode there. But yeah, Braden, Reds, I keep seeing people say that they're the worst playoff team ever. But you know what? They find ways to win. They're kind of similar to the Guardians, I would say. Obviously not as good, but the way they
Yeah.
play, kind of really relying on pitching and small ball. And yeah, I think they're gonna give the Dodgers a run for their money in the wild card with their pitching. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch, and I think a lot of people will be rooting for the Reds as like the underdog, especially against the
Yeah.
Dodgers and the city of Cincy. It'll make for good baseball. I think it's good for the game that the Reds are in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, from a ratings perspective, I'm sure Major League Baseball was really hoping for the Mets because Mets Dodgers would have been a cool little series this week. But for the diehard fan of just the game, I think it's awesome for the Reds. And I think that, like you said, I mean, they got Andrew Abbott, they got Hunter Brown, like they got dudes. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say that I would pick the Reds to win this series. I think, probably pitching wise, they probably match up like not too bad. Like I know Snell in the past has kind of owned the Reds, right? But to me, it's the offense. Like the Dodgers offense is kind of elite at this point. We talked about them at the beginning of the year as this is the team that like did they break baseball with all the, deferring the money so far out. Right? Um but like it's going to come down to the offense, right? Like are the Reds going to show up? I mean, if they get after them early, you know, we were talking about this earlier, but 10 out of the 12 wild card series have been 2-game sweeps, right? And all of the wild card games, whoever wins game 1 wins the series.
Mm-hmm.
So must win tomorrow. If the
Right.
Reds win tomorrow, history says that you're going to win the series.
Right.
Blake Snell versus Hunter, you know what I mean?
Hunter Green.
Figure it
Yeah.
out. And Hunter Green, excuse me. Figure it out. And anything can happen. And then if you win that game 1,
Mm-hmm.
ball's in your court.
A lot of pressure on the
Anything
Dodgers.
can
Yeah.
happen at that
Yeah.
point. All of a sudden, the pressure is not only on the Dodgers, but then the Phillies are looking at we don't want this team to get hot on us. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
Shout out to the Reds. Shout out
yeah.
to that city. That
Let's
city
come.
needed this after Joe
I
Burrow
don't
went
think.
down, like you said last week.
Yeah, I just think it's like really. And Bengals play tonight, 8 o'clock. Jake Browning versus the Broncos.
Oh, Knicks.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I just think I know, like I said, just really good for the game. Their comeback. I wish they would have won on Sunday, kind of just like as like
Yeah.
the cherry on top kind of thing. But they still made it in. They took care of business against the Brewers. So I think they basically ended like 5-1, right? Or 6-1 because they swept the Cubs and then they beat the Brewers.
No, because remember they
Oh,
lost 2 out of 3. They lost two out of
yes.
three against Pittsburgh
Yeah, and that's when we're
at
like, oh
home last
gosh.
week and
Yeah.
still got in.
Yeah. That's crazy actually. I forgot about that
Yeah.
series.
But yeah, I mean, they probably they're defining if you're gonna look at 2 series in the second half, or I guess three. I'll mention 3 series in the second half that kind of defined them. It was obviously the Brewers this weekend. They swept the Cubs at home last weekend, right? And then at the beginning of September, they took 2 out of 3 against the Mets at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's the tiebreaker right there.
There you
So
go.
you're gonna look back at a couple games. Those are them right there.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
but
crazy. It's crazy how like literally came down to game 162 for like a lot
yeah,
of stuff,
a lot
like a
of
lot of
teams.
scenarios. But
Yeah, a lot of
um
teams were locked in, but
yeah.
positioning was still up for grabs. But yeah,
Yeah. Do you want to react to any other thing from game 162 before we get into the previews? Kind of already previewed the Dodgers Reds a little bit, but like, did you want to talk about your guards at all, real quick? They
no, I
had
mean,
the historic divisional comeback.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into each of these, in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, shout out the Guardians. I mean, I don't even want to call them my Guardians, right? Because I don't want to see them if I'm the Yankees, right? I wouldn't want to play this team, and I said this to you a couple of weeks ago that like when you play them, like everything goes out the window. Like I don't know how to describe it, but they just figure it out, right? They're gonna beat you. They can beat you in a lot of different ways.
Yeah,
They can,
they
you know,
attack your weaknesses. I would say, like, if you have trouble fielding off the mound, they're gonna bunt toward the pitcher all the time, like they did with School Ball or
yeah,
a couple weeks ago. It's just like stuff
yeah,
like that. They just know how to um find the opponent's weakness, I think, and use that to their strength, and then just win games. I think.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think again that they're gonna host the Tigers. It's a team they see a lot.
Yeah,
And then if they win that series, they're gonna go to Seattle. Like I think if you're them, you're like, all right, like let's do this. You know
do
what I
it.
mean?
Yeah,
Like if we can just pull off the comeback that we did, we can do anything. So I
and
know a lot of
they
people call it Believeland.
yeah
You might be believing.
they've had the Tigers number. We'll get into the preview a little bit. They've had the Tigers number the
Yeah,
past couple months now, so it's gonna be
yeah,
fun. It's gonna be
yeah.
fun. Yeah,
Shout
but
out.
anything else before we get into the actual previews? I think we could talk about the Diamondbacks and the Giants who fired Bob Melvin today. But I mean, there's not really I don't really got much to say besides the fact that
No,
the Diamondbacks underperformed. Um,
no. I'll
that's
just give a
like
quick.
Astros just missed. Okay, they're kind of
Yeah.
injury riddled.
That's what I was
Um,
just gonna say. Is maybe a quick bit on the Astros. Is this the first time they missed a postseason since 2016? So
yeah,
10 years.
yeah,
You don't want to call the dynasty over, but it's
right.
to miss the playoffs the way that they did. They've really struggled down the stretch of the year, which kind of defined it. And you know, I don't have their schedule up right now, but I look back at I think it was not this past weekend, but the weekend before they went and they hosted Seattle and Seattle swept them
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
that kind of felt like the tides were
right,
turning where
right.
it's like okay there's
There's
a
a
new
new big
best
dog
team
in
in
the
the AL
West,
West. Yeah, and
led by
a
Big
big dog
Dumper.
they are
Yeah.
with the big dumper for sure. But yeah, that's all I got. We can get into these
Yeah,
series a
let's get
little
into this
bit.
previews real quick. All right, let's start with the NL then, right?
Yeah.
Um, we kind of already did Dodgers, Reds, Braden, but we'll talk about them a little bit more real quick here. Yeah, Cincinnati after their miracle run is going to LA to play the Dodgers. Game one matchup, Braden, and Snell versus Green. Um, yeah, I think it's gonna be super fun to watch. I think, like I said earlier, everyone's gonna be rooting for the Reds. No one really likes the big bad Dodgers. And then, whoever wins this series goes on and gets to play in Philly. So So yeah, give me your thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of already talked about it now. I mean, we didn't make predictions last year, and I'm cool not doing predictions
Yeah.
again because it's so hard to pick because we've seen this literally be the definition of wild card where it's wild. Like again, like you would everyone's gonna say, oh, Dodgers, right? But like don't tell me there isn't a part of you that can think, well, the Reds can like figure this, like, they can kind of
Anything could
go band
happen
for
in a 3 game series.
and they can kind of go band for band with them when it
Yeah.
comes to starting pitching,
Yeah.
right? Like I know that the Dodgers rotation or their bullpen has struggled this year, but they've as of late have played better, right? The Reds pitching, I to them that's almost a wash because I'm like I like Hunter Green and I like Blake Snell, I like Yamamoto and Abbott. You know what I mean? I like the matchups for both
Hmm.
teams. It's really the offense, right? Like Ellie, like this is your chance, bro. This
Yeah.
is like you have the chance to really put your name on the map. I know that you're on the cover of the show and a lot of people know your name, but you play in a small market, bro. If you go into LA and you light them up, you're going to become a household name. You're a fun
Yeah.
player to watch.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this series. Again, I'm not going to pick either way. Um, but if I had to, you know, the Dodgers probably have the better offense, right? I think that we can sit here and comfortably say that, but like that, I don't know if that matters in a best 2 out of 3. I know that the Reds were just in LA and I think the Dodgers swept them, less than a month ago. But anything can happen.
Yeah. I mean,
So I'm excited for this series.
I love Hunter Green game one. I feel like if you're a Reds fan, you're really
You,
confident. Like I know
you love that.
The Dodgers have a lot of star power. And it worked in the Reds' favor where they didn't have to like use Green in game 162 kind of thing. So
Yep.
but yeah, I just think it's gonna be I think it's kind of besides the Yanks series, I think I'm most excited for this one. Just because I'm curious to see like what the Reds could do and see if they could get the Dodgers a run for their money here and maybe pull off an upset. This is kind of the biggest David versus Goliath series I could remember, like wild
Yeah.
card wise.
I
Given the
would say
history,
that.
given the
I would
payroll, given the circumstances from the past month or so. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, so it looks like that they're gonna go Hunter game 1, and then they're gonna go Nick Lodolo
Okay.
game 2, and then if there's a game 3, then they go Andrew Abbott.
Yeah. I
So
think you wish you could go Abbott game 2, but I think the rest days didn't work out that way. I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
but what's tomorrow bring, right?
Yeah.
Because yes, tomorrow is gonna go, I think, largely as you'd expect, right? But then all of a sudden, game 2 is gonna happen, and 4 teams are going to be on the brink of elimination, and then all of a sudden the pitching situation changes because you just are going to do anything to survive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So we'll see.
No,
We'll
I
see.
agree. All right, let's move on to the other NL wild card series. San Diego Padres are going to Chicago Wrigley Field to play the Cubs. So this one's gonna be another fun one too.
Yeah.
The Padres, a lot of swag, Tatis, Machado, Jackson Merrill, you
Bogarts.
know, Dylan Cease. It's gonna be fun versus, the Cubs. Kyle, got Kyle Tucker this offseason. I think he's out though, right? Isn't he?
No, he came back. He came back
Okay.
this weekend. So he
Okay.
he's gonna be active.
Okay. So he's
Um,
activated. Um, But yeah, Bray, give me your thoughts on this one.
I mean, I'm gonna talk highly on all these series because I think that they're all interesting. They all have their own storyline, but this one's really cool. Um, to me, this season they've split 3-3. Um,
It's interesting.
each team has won 3, but both those series were in April. So it's been a while since these teams have seen each other. Um, yeah, and I mean it's going to be interesting. Again, it's kind of like what I talked about with Ellie De La Cruz, like PCA, like what do you got? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You struggled late in the year, but now it's kind of a clean slate. Whatever happened in the regular season doesn't matter. You're
It's
here
all zeros on the scoreboard
hosting.
now. Yeah.
You're hosting, a Padres team that, probably feels like that they're capable of winning this conference. Not saying that the Cubs don't feel like that they are, right? But the Padres, they've got a lot of star power. And, in year like last year, they ran into the Dodgers and whatnot. They're hungry, I guess is what I'm getting at here. So show me what you got. I mean, I think this is going to be another great series. Um, Again, like I was thinking about it today and I was looking at it and I know we're not making predictions, but I don't know who I would pick, right? Because I
Right.
think both teams do have strengths. Um, the Padres don't hit a ton of homers from what I saw, but like they've got players like Luis Ariz who just kind of get on base. So I don't know. Again, it's probably going to come down to pitching, as all these games tend to. But I'm not really leaning one way or another. You could probably tell that I was, slightly leaning Dodgers on the first one just because their
Yeah.
offense. But again,
Hmm.
I said anything can happen. I think this series is kind of the same way. It's going to be exciting.
It's a
I
coin
don't know if
flip.
they've ever met in the postseason. I might have to look that up, but it's going to be a fun series. A lot of
Yeah.
star power on the field.
I do. I've always liked the Padres for some reason. Like I always wanted to see like Tatis and Machado win one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like there would be like if say the Yankees weren't in the postseason, I would like root for the Padres to like go all the way
Okay.
this year. Or the
Okay.
Reds. One of those two. Like whoever advances, I guess. But
Okay. 1984. They've only met once in the postseason.
wow.
1984 NLCS. The Padres won the series 3-2.
Hmm, that's cool.
And they were down 0-2 and they won 3 consecutive games. So
There you
that was an electric series from what it sounds like. Let's
go.
hope we get the same here.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the AL side of things. We'll do uh Detroit going to Cleveland. I think we kind of talked about this before. They've been playing each other a lot lately. Obviously, the Tigers blew that huge lead for the division. Guardians came back and won at a walk-off through run homer last night to clinch it. That was pretty cool. And like you said, Brain, the Guardians just find ways to win. Um, and the Tigers have been struggling mightily as of late. And like you said, you don't want to see this Guardians team in the postseason right now. Give me your thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, the Guardians are red hot and the Tigers kind of struggled, and then they went into Fenway this past weekend. I think they lost 2 out of 3 there. You might have to fact check me on that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a tale of two very different Septembers. They basically had polar opposite Septembers as far as wins and losses are concerned. So the Guardians obviously have the momentum. They won the division. They won on a walk off yesterday. I'm sure you saw that. So
Yeah.
like talk about momentum. Like not only do they have the wins in September, but they also had the most recent, success there. I don't know, maybe a little bit of a hot take, but to me, this is the most compelling series of the wild card.
Yeah. Two good teams going at it in the wild card. Like really good
And these
teams.
two teams played each other in the postseason last year
Yeah.
and it went the distance, I'm pretty sure. And like, I just remember the Tigers last year were like, it was such a special run. And yeah, they got through the wild card and then they lost in the DS, right? But
To the
like
Guardians, yeah.
to the Guardians, right?
And
But
they
that
were up
series,
2-1. They were up 2-1 too, I
they were up
think.
2-1, and then I forget. I think it was Lane Thomas hit a grand slam in the
Lane
final
Thomas or
game.
David Fry, one of those guys, yeah.
One of those guys, right? One of those guard dogs that they got there. Um, but yeah, man. I mean, this is like to me. I'm like when I saw this was at 1 o'clock, I was kind of sick. I was like, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, this is
Yeah. Dude, I was
like
also
this is
thinking
like.
about that's noon. That's noon for them too. Like that's
Well, no,
come on.
Cleveland's in the East, in the Eastern
Oh, it
Conference.
is. It's not
Yeah.
Central Time?
No,
Oh.
no, 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 no. It's only one.
All right,
No, yeah, yeah.
still one
No.
o'clock. Like,
But
what is it?
still,
Sunday
no,
football
still
game?
100. Detroit. I think Detroit is probably a time zone different, um, but yeah, I mean, on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock, I was like, dang, like I wish. I don't know. That's a whole other discussion about the scheduling with the playoff games because I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, that's like to me, like that's one of the most watched games of the week. Like
Mm.
Scooble versus Gavin Williams. Like
I
I'm
don't know
gonna be
why.
seated.
Why don't they just have two games at the same time? Like, I don't know why they do that. Or like
Well, they
start at like
do.
four or something.
They will because there's gonna be some overlap because the
Yeah, but like, I mean,
Detroit.
like just start them at the same time though. So like, there's two night games at
Yeah,
least.
I
Like,
agree. I agree. I think everything should be moved up at least an hour,
yeah.
right? Why are the Yankees playing at 6? Why are the
Hmm.
Dodgers playing at 9? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
besides the point.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
that's a different discussion.
yeah, the Guardians I have written here have won 8 of. They've played 13 times. The Guardians won 8. But the Tigers in Cleveland are 4-2
Hmm.
on the season. So the Guardians won the series right? The season series, but the
Yeah.
Tigers have won more in Cleveland than Cleveland themselves. I think that's worth noting. I was looking at the Guardians offense. It's kind of bad, but like again,
They
like I
find ways to
mentioned
win. Yeah.
earlier, yeah, I mean they're 29th in average
Jeez.
in the league. They're 28th in runs. Like they win games, but not in like a conventional way at all. Which I think makes them such an interesting
Yeah.
case study.
I think.
And
Go ahead.
God, no, I was just gonna say it's gonna be really interesting to see, especially tomorrow with Scooble on the mound and Gavin Williams, like how it plays out, right? Because I really do think this series can go either way. I
Yeah. I
really do.
think. I
Go
think
ahead.
this game goes 3 games.
I
It
agree.
has to, right? Like it has to come down to game three. I
I
think
agree.
this is probably the most level, like on paper. Anything could happen, but on paper, it's probably like the most like level, um, wild card series. I would
Yeah.
say, like on
Yeah.
paper, these teams have seen each other a bunch throughout the season, and especially recently. So, because the Tigers, even though they were slumping, they could have beat the Guardians a couple times in that last week or so there, and they couldn't get it done, and the Guardians pulled obviously clinched the division. But yeah, I just think this is probably gonna make the closest like on paper series in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we remember last year, Detroit was very like, I think they labeled it pitcher chaos, right? Where they don't like they go out there and they rotate the pitchers in such a manner that it's just kind of literally chaos for the other team. And I think it really worked for them against Houston.
Yep.
And then, when they obviously lost to the Guardians, but it was a competitive series overall. So I'm excited to see what the Tigers do as far as like you got Scooble game one. What does game two look like if you
Mm-hmm.
win versus what if you lose, right? If you win, who do you put out? You know what I mean? Because like we
Right.
said, this is probably like of all the series, I'm the most confident that this one goes three,
Yeah.
right? Because I quite literally have no idea. Um, they got Jack Flaherty. Like, is he gonna play a factor?
Yeah.
I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But you know, I know we still got to talk about the Red Sox and Yanks, so
Yeah.
we'll
We have
shift
about
away.
5 minutes here.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's another head brain. I think it's just that this one's a coin flip, in my opinion. I think it's going to be fun. Kind of sucks that it's at one, but I'll be tuning in
yeah,
through
and
my earbuds tomorrow.
I think whoever wins is going to go play Seattle, and I think that's a great series either way,
Yeah,
regardless of who wins.
yeah,
But we'll see.
yeah. All right, let's get on to the last and the best series wild card. We have 4 minutes left here, Braden, between our Yanks and the Red Sox in the Bronx. 6 o'clock start. And this is ratings galore for for Major League Baseball, the rivalry.
Yeah,
I think we said at the beginning of the season, Braden, these teams are going to be close. Like they're going to end up seeing each other in the postseason.
yep.
And kind of spoke that into existence. But yeah, Brady, give me your thoughts. I mean, I'm kind of a wreck as a Yankees fan. I don't love a best two of three series with Crochet going game one.
Yeah,
But I'm confident the Yanks. They seem to have gotten hot at the right time. They seem to be
yeah,
been locked in all past week.
yeah,
And I'm confident in the starting pitching as well. It's just the bullpen's a little shaky to me, but hopefully they find a way. But yeah, give me your
yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I think it's huge the way that they ended the season. I know that they didn't play like the best of the best. Um, but a sweep of the White Sox, a sweep of the Orioles. Then I think the prior weekend they played the Orioles, and I think they took 3 out of 4 or
Yeah, they
something like
did
that.
three or
Again,
four.
not the best of teams, but it's all about momentum, right? Like
Yep,
it's a real thing. So
a win's a
you're gonna
win.
go into this series, and yeah, you got Crochet on the mound, who I think hasn't lost the Yankees in any start he's had this year. So there's obviously that going. But as far as momentum's concerned, uh, I, I, I'm trusting the Yankees at this
Mm-hmm.
point, right? Like you've played well as of late. The rotation is lined up exactly how you would do it, right? Get it done, right? Like
Yep.
you won more games. I would say you're the better team. The Red Sox have just and the Toronto Blue Jays for that manner have owned you for the most part of this season and even prior seasons. The Red Sox have kind of had the Yankees number for a little
Yeah.
bit now. And you can kind of, change that whole narrative. What a good series. To me, like you have more wins. You are the better team
On
and you're
paper,
at
I
home.
agree. No bias. I think the Yankees are on
I
team
think you're the
or on
better
paper a better
team
team.
and you're at home.
Right.
Get it done.
Yep.
You can't lose this series. Don't
Hmm.
lose this series.
No.
Everything is going your way as of right now. You have the momentum. You have the pitching matchups that you want as far as your rotation. Um, and everyone's contributing. I mean, not to get too in the weeds of it and all, but like Judge and Stan have been crushing lately, and
Yep.
Ben Rice has been playing well. Obviously Fried and Rodon have both had excellent seasons, so get it done.
Yeah.
That I'll leave it at that. I don't really
Yeah.
even have too
I
much else to
just
say.
if they play to their full potential, even though they don't do that half the time, it seems like if they play to the full potential, I think they should be able to get the job done. But like I
Yeah,
said, just nervously confident for tomorrow. I'm excited. It's gonna be a long day, probably waiting out, getting out of work and then getting home and
yeah,
watching it. But yeah, I'm just overall excited. I think I don't want to speak too much because, you know, don't want to jinx anything, but I'm
yeah.
confident, but also nervous at the same time. So
We'll see. We'll see. It's gonna be exciting tomorrow, though. I'm gonna be locked in. How could you not be?
yeah,
This is great.
we're gonna be locked in all day.
And then I
Um,
think we're probably gonna do this again post wild card, right?
yeah, we're
Like
gonna have to
Friday
probably like
or
a
something like that. Maybe
Thursday
Thursday
or
night.
Friday. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, maybe
Cool.
probably. I guess probably Friday if there's still games going on Thursday.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So, but yeah, anything else to
Cool,
add on
man.
the Yanks Red Sox series or anything overall?
No, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
go Yankees. That's what I got to add.
Go
All right,
Yanks.
thanks everyone for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time on In the Yard. Go Yanks again, and have a good one. Enjoy the wild card
You
series.
guys enjoy.